This is a very big box. I am actually surprised at the size of this box. I did not realize it was going to be so big. This is Tanares Adventures, which is the sequel to Arena the Contest. Let's take a look and see what's inside. Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today we are taking a look at Tanares Adventures. This is the follow-up to Arena the Contest, which was much more of a tactical strategy combat board game that had a small campaign mode. You could play it solo, aka cooperatively, or it was meant to be, it was designed to be like a player versus player kind of dropped into an arena setting. Tanares Adventures took all of that game system and said, you know, we're going to make an epic campaign out of it. We're going to revamp the way you play solo and cooperatively, and poof. So I actually did not back Arena the Contest at the beginning, but I was far more taken by what they were offering when Tanares Adventures came around. So this is actually my first foray into a Dragori Games game. And so far I'm pretty impressed just with the sheer size of this box. Shipping weight said it was 18 pounds. It is one of those kind of dual layer boxes. The lid only goes about halfway down, which I definitely appreciate. So there's that. The box has got like a linen finish on it. It's got this, I don't know how easy it's going to be to show you guys because this is quite a heavy box, but there you can see it's got like the characters going around the outside and then, you know, various scenery. I've heard some people complain about how, you know, it's just a black box and then the scenery and then this. It really doesn't bother me. All right. So, first of all, we've got what appears to be game trays. I'm not 100% sure if these are game trays, but it looks to be some very nice inserts here. So, let's just kind of take these apart piece by piece here. So, there's the first tray. And then we have the second tray. Looks like something should go there. Also, another thing that I was drawn to was that they redid all the miniatures for this version of the game and the, you know, second printing of Arena the Contest, which is what I will end up getting here eventually. These miniatures look very impressive so far, and I'm just looking at them under plastic. So we have another tray. These are a little tricky to get out of. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you here. There's not like a good place to get your fingers under them in there. There's some heft to them. All right, we are still going here. Don't worry, I'm gonna come back to all of these trays as I pull them out here and take a closer look at them. Now I wonder if this one is even supposed to come out. Let's just take a quick look at this bad boy right here. So this is quite good. You know, I can tell the difference between, like, this is supposed to be leather and then his skin is smoother. All of the, you know, the threading on the ropes, even the threading up here. Like, this is a very well done miniature here. And it's, you know, it's solid plastic. This is not really bending anywhere. So, yeah. They've got a little stamp on the bottom. I'm assuming M123 is like this miniature's number. We'll take a closer look at him off to the side. This is interesting. I wonder what this is for. Not sure. We've got some marker cubes, a whole bunch of cards, but lots of space to put them in. Smaller cards. This must come out. There's got to be something underneath this. Ooh, man. And then we've got a whole bunch of cardboard here. Oh, and even more. We are still going. I told you this was a big box. We got a big baggie. I think that's to just store away your stuff in. And then, oh man, some heavy books. And yeah, there's that. Let's just take a peek. Okay, nothing under. So I'm wondering how they were imagining this being stored. I really wouldn't want to have to lift this end out. It's pretty flimsy compared to the other. Well, the other pieces are the same. The lids are pretty solid. This is definitely not game trays. I'll give you that. But there's a lot going on here. So let's actually push this. Actually, let's flip this over. This is what the back side of the box is. This may be the only time it is this light and easy to flip over. Okay, let's get a little organized here. All right. Let's start with what I assume somewhere in here is the rule book. All right, has that new board game smell to it. So I know that these now replace the kind of larger hero trays, people call them trays, but oversized cards that they used in the PvP version of the game, and you're going to be selecting various special powers off of these trays. So you can only have like one brute in your party, one commander. Let's see if we can't take a closer look at these. Okay. So, range 8, total charge, mana power. Let's see what the backside looks like. Okay. So there's 2 commanders and 2 healer boards. So we've got a commander, a healer. These guys obviously have, various statistics. So I'm wondering if no matter who you have as a healer, they're always going to have 60 HP, basic attack of 6, which I guess is range, defense, reaction. Then we're probably going to have 2 bruiser boards, one with a tank on the back side. Turn ally, turn villain. Controller with a tactician on the back side. And then the last 2 is going to be the shooter and the brute. So there's your classes. 8 classes in the game. You take a party of 4 out. You're going to pick 4 of those. Quick start guide. Ooh. Ooh. Does this do what I think it does? No, it's just thick. Okay, thick paper. But, so here we go. Assembling a team, preparing a hero. Yeah, so maybe we will play through this one on the channel, so you guys can get a hint of what the tutorial mission is like. All right, campaign log, campaign perks. Ooh, man, look at that. List of quests. 82 quests. Looks like a 6-week campaign. Several masteries. This is quite a map right here. And a fact log. kind of a shame there's only one of these. Looks like you easily print it off. I'm sure they'll have a PDF version somewhere. I always say that, and then I only end up like using one. All right. Let's see if this will. We can get most of this on camera. So this is a big poster. Hopefully you don't have to like have this out and saved stuff on. There's obviously places to put stuff. This represents like warriors and diplomats and any war point. There's a spot for some decks of cards over here. This obviously isn't going to lay flat. Hopefully this is not meant to just have out all the time. Ooh, and here we have something even different. Interesting that this is not like a board. Obviously I know they were trying to save space and this was already a big heavy box, but not a huge fan. At least the creases don't appear to go like right through the middle of where you're expected to put a card down. So this is the city phase. What was this one? I don't know what this one's called. But interesting. Expedition. Conquer 3 NPCs, draw 1 loot card. Okay. So there's that. Nice big poster. And then we have the city book. This sucker, I still haven't found a instruction manual yet. Some nice artwork right there. Ooh, look at all this stuff going on here. This is why I backed the game following Tanares Adventures. Some elemental puzzles. Alright, so this is basically like a log book. We have a super thick journal. A super, not quite as thick. And here is the rule book. Good gracious. So we are looking at a grand total of 87.88 if you include the back index page. There's a lot going on here. Appendices picks up around 74, so 75 pages. Wow. Oh, chapter 14, end of quest rewards campaign. Oh no. Elements of the scenario. Wow. Look at all of this. There's a lot going on here. This is quite a rule book. I've been reading through the Frosthaven rule book, which is just as thick, mind you, but I already know half of that. I'm wondering how much of this would you could skip over if you were familiar with Arena the Contest. So here's basically an overview of everything in the box. One poster map. $63 solo cards. 8 skill pads. No, they still got the large hero pads here. Ooh, table of contents. Look at that. You don't often see a table of contents in a rule book. Components needed from Arena the Contest game box for campaign mode and PvE. So the game board, but I have seen some people saying, hey, if I have, something like this from D&D or something else, this is essentially just a big flat, 20 by 20, probably 20 by 15, I don't know. But it's just a bunch of hexes. I guess there's some tiles maybe. D20s, I've got some D20s. I got some chest miniatures. Probably used and sometimes used. So, basically what Gameretti or Dragori Games said, and based on how Gameretti Games was shipping the game out, they were just shipping the main part of the game, even though whether you paid for Wave 1 shipping, you're only going to get Tanares Adventures, the core box, and then all the rest of the stuff is going to come in other shipments, which I'm actually fine with. Honestly, I wish that companies would send out their box of miniatures first so I can get them painted up, and then send me the rule book and the miniatures, and then send me everything else. Obviously, that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, but quest guide. 101 quests here, 204 pages. Read the quest setup board. Slide that up there. Okay, Fisherman's Wharf. I'm not going to flip through too many of these. So this will be the most interesting thing, is the whether or not I lose interest where seemingly the map or the scenario takes place in essentially the same arena every single time. And I think that was one of the drawbacks. I'm not going to spend too much time on here, but you can see not a whole lot's changed. The scenario looks very similar. That hopefully is not the downfall of the game. And look at this sucker. This sucker is 350 pages. Goodness gracious. Good luck. I mean, I don't know what was in the quest guide, but this thing is just as beefier. I wonder if this is like a Where's Waldo thing here. This is interesting because it's like a CGI generated characters. Would have really loved for this to just be hand-drawn artwork. I don't know why this is in here, but there appears to be a couple pages of large artwork. Let's see if we can find it. No, most of the rest of them all have what might be spoilers. So, yeah. And I don't want to spoil anything. So let's move on to the fun stuff. There's a lot of paper in this game, though. A lot of spiral-bound books that I can't even figure out how to close. This one right here rivals the Madara book. That's how big this is. I've got the Madara book sitting over here, and I'm looking at it from a distance. And the Madara book is probably bigger, but this one's up there. All right. Let's take a look at some of our cardboard components here. So there's really not nearly as much cardboard as I was expecting. I think because you're going to use that standard game board and probably a lot of the walls and stuff from the main ones. These are just going to be like accent tiles and a couple of other things. Plus 70. Jeez. A couple of other things that are necessary for just Tanares Adventures. This is getting better, though. This, makes it not so just, well, that's not getting better. That's a whole lot of just hardwood floor right there. And this is it. This is just 3 things of cardboard here. So, very interesting. That's it. Not a whole lot to show you there. So, let's now start taking a look at what I'm sure a lot of you are looking forward to, and that's the miniatures. Okay, so we've got some miniatures here. Now, all of the gray ones, I believe, should be the bad guys. And then the colored ones are all going to be the heroes. The brown ones, which I am easily the most excited about, is a specific color hero, and each one here you can see is paired up with a familiar or partner, whatever you want to call it. So like this guy for example. I don't even know his name, but he comes with a Yeti. I mean, how cool is that? So I'm going to give a better close-up of these miniatures here in just a minute. But so we've got a guy in a Yeti. This is the girl from the box, but a unicorn or Pegacorn, I don't know. Pegasus and a girl with a big badass lance. That's cool. And again, you know, this is a little, but I mean, it's solid. It's not bending, and I think this is where the whole miniature updates to the miniature quality came from. So there's this guy who looks like he's from Egyptian times and what appears to be a mummy or pharaoh. Oh man, such cool choices. Cerberus. Normally Cerberus is a villain, but in here he's like a pet. So I'm pretty impressed here. I can see like individual teeth, individual hair. The hair looks really nice. Again, I'm going to show these in better detail here in just a minute. Who else we got here? This person, the faceless one with a big beefy sword. The bases are thematic. I love that. What else we got here? Okay, I've seen some of these already with like body parts broken off, but everything here appears to be intact, which is good. Even if it wasn't, it's not the end of the world. She appears to go in like that. Let's look at this guy. That's just a cool sculpt. I mean, I don't know how well you guys can see this, but see that cape? He's got some sweet texture on the cape, and the flame looks really good. He's got good facial features. I mean, this is a top-notch job here. Individual chains and skulls coming off the chains. And I mean, it's solid. Solid miniatures here. All right. A whole bunch of cards. We're gonna come back to cards because I need to determine which ones will be okay to show. All right, so there's this little one and then trays for all of those tokens, so that's good. Let's take a look at this. See, this is what I'm concerned about right here. You can see this is already splitting. I like it when there's custom trays like this where everything fits. There's a spot for everything, but I don't like it if it's just going to break down on me. So also these, there's like custom lids, which appear to be pretty nice. All right, so these are mostly the bad guys here. These are going to be the larger hero cards, I'm guessing. Look at that guy. All right, we'll open these up here in a second. Whole bunch of cards, large size cards. We've got some scenery in here, some barrels. Again, like I can decipher out the chains from the barrels. Ooh, look at this guy. Big old hammer. Like the shield's really nice. I'm quite impressed with the level of detail of these. Or Cthulhu guy here. So again, I'm actually, not that I'm going to get all this stuff painted, because I'm sure that the rest of my pledge is not far behind, but if I had aspirations to paint some of this here. There's like a little face on the thing. crisp edges. I don't know how this is going back in here. What I did not see was the thing of how to get everything back into the box. Ooh, is this a crocodile? Well, it's a giant lizard or something, but I mean, so there is some cracks here, which I usually get really lazy and just leave be. But this is the only one that's been like really bad. All right, and then just once again, here's a comparison of here's one of his minions. That's how big that guy is. Now the rest of these guys don't have the same stamp on the bottom. I forgot to look at let's just see what. Okay, so the heroes do. It's hard to see, but it does say M96 below that hero there. Okay, so that is this guy's pretty cool too. That is all of the miniatures that are in this box. So let's clear all the plastic away, all the cardboard away, and take a look at as many cards as we can. All right, so there's a lot of cards in this game, so we're going to go through as many of them as possible. Obviously, it being a campaign game, I'm not going to be showing off everything. The first thing I did want to show off here are just the player reference sheets. There's only one set of them, but they cover a lot of stuff here. Elements of a scenario, how to control a comrade. We'll talk about that here in a second. Turn, hero turn, puzzles, symbols, and then villain turn and conditions. This one obviously would be very helpful. So these are nice, decent, thick cardstock here to go along with the ones from Arena the Contest. Now here we've got essentially the larger hero pads. This is if you're going to be using these heroes in a PvP game, or kind of what Arena the Contest presented, just like a head-to-head one-off shot scenario. It's got the two standard abilities here that can be used throughout, and then your two special abilities. Those are also represented by cards, so you'll actually flip over those cards in the game. But then this also gives you your hit points, your basic attack, your defense, and movement. So I just wanted to kind of go over these a little bit. These guys first on top of this stack here are the commanders, which I believe is a new class. These are the ones that come with all of the companions. So like this guy had the Yeti, for example, and she's got the unicorn. And you can see also that everybody within the same class has the same statistics, essentially. Hit points, basic attack, movement, and defense. You're going to see, so anytime you see like a tank, they're going to have these same statistics here. Special guy. And so these are all of the characters that are included in the Tanares Adventures that you could then turn around and use and play with in regular Arena of the Contest. What's really cool, and I'll show you here in a second, is, and these are for some of the bosses here. But on the backside of them is all of this incredible artwork blown up. And so if a hero dies, you flip their card over. But it's a really nice touch to get to check out this amazing artwork on the backside. They could have easily left this blank or just, you know, kept it uniform or something. Just put Tanares Adventures or something on there. Also, you can see this says Arena the Contest because, again, you won't be using these necessarily in the version that Tanares Adventures offers. All right, so we highlighted these earlier just to come back to them. On top of you gaining your abilities here, when you are playing Tanares Adventures in the cooperative mode, you're also given the ability to take actions on other people's turns. And so at the start of prior to every scenario, you're going to choose 4 actions that you will have the ability to take. And you always have to start with choosing level 1s until you've upgraded yourself and the village and things like that. And then you can start taking these better ones. Each of these also cost mana to activate. You'll keep your mana here. And as you take the action, you're going to flip a little token on them to a charged side. You can still use it even if it's charged. It just costs an additional mana. But once you've charged all of them, there's a total charge effect that's going to come into, you know, that you're going to get to do, and then you'll flip them all back over. They all become uncharged. But everything that's on the red side here is going to be something you do against the villain or the bad guys, and everything on this side is something that you do for your allies. And again, these are all taken when it's not your turn, essentially. So you're going to have this. This has your basic stats here, so similar to these right here. And then again, this is replaced by cards. So this is what you're using in Tanares Adventures. All right, we already looked at these, so I'm not going to go through all of them. Now, let's take a look at those cards. So you can see here that every character, for example, has should have at least 4 cards. So there's 2 basics here. The basics have the silver border around them, and then the specials have the gold border. So the specials are going to be one-time use during a scenario. I guess there may be some effect where you can bring it back, but these are certainly the more powerful ones. Once you use them, they're done. These are used, and you flip them over, and they're also going to be added in to, say, these cards here. Let me just get one set. Yeah. So I know that she's not a brute, but let's just say, for example, she was a brute. You would gain these 2 level 1 cards here. So these are the 4 actions that you can take other than just your basic attack. Once you've used these 4, you'll flip them back over, and they all become available again. These can be upgraded. So here you can see level 0, initial, level 1 prodigy, more level 1 prodigies, level 2 master, all the way up to these ones that are epic. So this is how the campaign helps grow your character as the scenarios get more difficult, is the ability to replace your basic actions with these cards. And they say you could even replace, say, Fatal Kiss and Blood Petals if you had, say, these 3 cards, you know, and this one. These will probably be more powerful. And again, these are for each of the class types. Again, when you're playing a campaign, you're going to pretty much only want to have 1 of each type of class character in your setup. So again, here we have, you know, basically 4 cards for every single character. I'm not going to go through all of these. And then last but not least, you have some that are for the companions. So this is the Pegasus here, has a basic attack, defense, reaction, and movement. Pegasus has hastened and may ignore terrain effects. Basically, it can fly. And then the Beast here even has a basic card and then this card, which is got a silver border. So I'm not quite sure how it will use this one versus its basic ones, but you know, there you can see you get card. If you're a commander, you get stat cards for your companions. Also included in this box are some cards for characters that were in the base box. So you can see all of these have the TA versus, say, this one does not. It says to replace the cards in Arena of the Contest with these. I don't know if that's permanent or only if you're playing in the kind of a campaign Tanares Adventures mode, but you can see like Ilarion here, the Telepath, has 3 cards, whereas Katarina the Witch only has 1. So I'm not quite sure how you are supposed to go about replacing these, whether it's permanent or not. Obviously, they make it look like you can tell them apart, but that was included in there as well. Next up, we have all of the characters, including the original ones. All of these here at the beginning are original ones, and new characters. And these are all hero cards that you're going to use whether you're playing cooperatively or if you're playing in the comrade mode, where you're still going to use one of these cards. So let's just look at Ariel, the sword mage here. These statistics on the bottom here are used in the city mode. And so then other than that, she's got an effect here, a trigger, so passive abilities for her. Then you would take this card and see if we can find a bruiser. You would take this here like so, and then we would go through here and find her specific deck. And so she would take these cards, and then we would take 2 cards like this. I know this is not the right ones, but this would kind of be your starting setup for a campaign. Oops. Trying to keep all this stuff organized. If you are playing in commander mode, you're going to have, you know, less of this stuff. You're not going to have one of these for each of your comrade characters. Sorry, comrade mode. But you'll still use this. You'll still have the passive abilities. These all say characters on the back because you can have non-NPC characters, non-playable characters that you pick up from the city, and they add to your character deck. And your character deck will grow. So over here, we have a whole bunch more. This is all the NPCs in the game. You're going to start with, actually, they ended up on the bottom here. These are the ones that are going to be available in the city to begin with. So an Iron Soldier, a Researcher, a Diplomat, Investigator. Most of these guys just have stuff that you can use in the city phase, right? But you're going to use these guys once you gain them to help you conquer, then, say, these guys. So these guys will come out in week 1, for example. And to conquer him, you need to produce 3 of the axe symbol and 2 of the book symbol. Then you can add him to your character deck. You can also take 1 NPC on each quest with you, and you can see here, for example, his quest power is change a level 0 attack for a level 1 tank or healer attack not in use. So it would be good to have the Shaman Warrior if you were a tank or healer. Otherwise, he doesn't do much good, but then he still is going to bring basically resources into the city phase. And again, there's this huge stack of NPCs here going all the way up to week 6 that they'll come out, plus the initials. While we're talking about the city phase here, there are all of these shops cards. So on that map that we looked at earlier, there are some blank spaces that represent for like a weapon shop, and then you can upgrade a weapon shop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same thing for all of these. Each one of these gives you the ability to take certain attack cards and weapon levels. You can exchange mana for them, and I believe Weapon Shop 1, there is a payment to upgrade these. That may be printed on the map itself. So during the city phase, you can pay to upgrade your weapon shop, your tavern, your Iron Hand outpost, and your natural lab. This is it, though. I thought there would have been more, to be honest with you, more buildings that you could have built, more unique buildings. But anyways, I digress. So, two cards that we're not really going to take a look at. You have your adventure cards and your quest cards. These here, which all have a letter, they're in alphabetical order. I'll show you the first one because this is the tutorial scenario. This is Fisherman's Wharf. You would flip this over. If you leave something out for a certain amount of time and neglect it, the negative happens. Basically, this one's telling you it's the tutorial scenario. You need to complete it first. And so this is how many adventures there are in the game. And then these you claim once you have defeated the quest. And some of these even produce side quests like this bonus quest, 83 Operation 112. So once you defeat Fisherman's Wharf, you would gain this card. This one isn't telling you much because it's just the tutorial, but the other ones have various effects on them. So this is certainly cards I'm not going to flip over, but you can see here that some really cool artwork on these. Seeing this side of them isn't going to hurt anything. Really cool artwork, and there is quite a lot of options here. Okay, so we've got two sets of cards here that are going to help if you are wanting to play more of a solo experience or play less than four-handed. So you have PvP solo. These are actually going to allow you to play the standard PvP game from Arena the Contest, but play it solo. So if you're just by yourself, but you want to play that kind of one-off, just arena-style game, you would... certain cards are going to be replaced by these. And then, yeah, there was... I feel like I'm missing some somewhere. But anyways... These are used to replace certain cards that don't make sense if you're controlling the AI. Other than that, there's rules in the book on how the AI chooses their turn, makes their attack. Basically, if they have a special, if their team can take a special, then they take it, and so on and so forth. Then you have your comrade, which is going to... depending on the level. So this is if you want to take less than 4 full characters into a scenario. You always have to have 4 heroes, but say it's just you and one other person, you each only want to control 1 full hero, then you would each take a comrade with you. Or if you have a team of 3, you would take 1 comrade that the group can share responsibilities of. Each comrade has a certain level they can be at, and that's based on, you know, how built up your city is. For example, here you have to have the weapon shop level 1 in order to take a brute level 1. But then this is essentially the steps it's going to take on its turn, unless you feel like it needs to take a greater impulse or a lesser impulse. So these are the 2 specials. So everybody has 2 special cards that they can use. They're one-off uses. This is essentially a comrade's 2 special cards, and they're exactly the same. So there's 3 copies. Essentially, you know, you could play a 3-player game, each taking comrade, so that's why there's 3 copies. But so these are the 2 special cards that you would use and then lose. And then for the rest of the scenario, your comrade would just basically take this action. Also, they can acquire mana cubes, which you can then use. They can use on an ally or villain's turn to damage an enemy or sometimes heal. Also, if they collect mana cubes, you can use them as a part of the party. Also, their stats here are just listed on the bottom. So essentially, you could have this plus, where are my cards here? This plus this, And these would be all you need for playing the comrade version, which is a simplified version of bringing multiple heroes into a scenario if you are playing by yourself or with fewer than 4 people. It's always an option, though, to just simply take control 4 heroes or multiple heroes and play multi-handed. Moving on, we have all of our enemies. These are nicely numbered, so you can keep them in numerical order here, and there is a grand total of more than 100 because we get all the way to 99 or 98, and then there's some bosses here. So this is like the general boss card, and then you've got all these additional mega bosses. So I'm not going to spoil everything that's in here, but we are going to look at the number 1, the archer. There's a little keyword for them. What's really nice is they show you what the miniature looks like. So if you're pulling, if you're looking through the box and need to figure out what the archer is, you can quickly identify what that miniature looks like. Also, there are, sometimes multiple levels of these guys. So there might be an archer somewhere else in here that's a different card, but there can be a red archer, a orange archer, a blue, and a green. And those are tracked by these right here. So they have their statistics here. Their defense is the most important statistic. This is what you have to roll on a d20 in order to do the damage. You have to get past their defense. But then you can see here they are a ranged character, what they do if they hit on their attack to you, what they're looking for. So in this case, they're looking for a single hero with the highest HP. An effect, if they hit you, if they miss, they're still going to do 8 residual damage. If they crit, which is rolling a perfect 20, they're going to do +5 damage, and then kind of a passive effect. And that's it. And again, there's a whole bunch here. I think that putting the picture of the miniature is a really nice touch. That way, like the archer's pretty self-explanatory here, but let's say like this guy, you may not be able to quickly decipher that that's this guy, because here in this picture he's got his sword up on his shoulder. You may not quickly pick out that, oh, that's what he should look like. So or like this guy here, maybe you would have picked up this guy because he's a ranged person with a bow type weapon. But so there is that. And then for the bosses each have their own decks of cards here with like special powers. I don't know if this because you will flip one over and do one, and not all of them do, but just these 3. I'm not going to flip these over, as well as some of the specific characters they will bring into a fight have these special cards as well. So not going to show off those too much, but they're just there. Last but not least are our small Euro-sized cards here. So I'm just going to, for the most part, line these up because you have various levels of items you can purchase from the city, plus 2 legendary. So your starter items here are not going to give you any bonus to health, but you can see here like light armor, might be a leather jacket. You are shielded for 5, so this means, this little symbol right here means that you use this when you are attacked, and also you have to be one of these 4 classes to use this. And then it says here, flip this card when you are hit or missed to apply the effect. So you can use it on residual damage. You would flip this over, and then until you have cycled through all of your basic attack cards, not the specials, and get to flip all them back over, you also get to flip over your starting equipment. So I believe everybody starts the scenario with 1 item, whatever it may be. So here, the short bow, you can add 5 damage to an attack. Again, you flip this over after using it. And there's various levels as your city increases, various levels of stuff. And there is, well, the starter one here. We'll flip over one of the level 1s. Here, this is going to tell you, this one costs, for example, 3 money, 3 gold to purchase. The starters don't cost anything. Because as you go through the scenarios, you're going to gain loot, and your loot may be things like wood, which you can use to build new buildings, or gems, or these are obviously not shuffled. Here's gold, so you may gain gold this way, and iron, wood, I think that's it, iron, wood, and gems. So the iron and the wood will be used to build buildings. The gems I'm not sure about. Gold will be used to purchase other things. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of cards in the game. Hopefully you got what you were looking for out of this unboxing video. Up next will be a reboxing video. So taking everything you have just seen, mainly the cardboard punch-outs, and determining how best to put it back into the box. I am going to see if there's a way to keep like the card tray sitting on the bottom where you don't have to pick it up and down every time, because again, that plastic is kind of flimsy and will probably break often, and the less stuff you have to pull out and set on the table, the better. But who knows, it may not work. We'll see. If you are interested in an Arena the Contest unboxing, this game has been out for several years now, but 1.5 now, or the second edition is just now being released with the improved miniatures. So if you are interested in seeing the newly released redone miniatures or anything like that, please let me know in the comment section below. I may or may not do an unboxing of that, but we will certainly do an unboxing of the kind of stretch goals from Tanares Adventures campaign. All of that coming up as soon as it's delivered to me. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.